Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Kylie album showdown. This is Timebomb. I'm your co-host. My name is Alan, and I'm here with Garry and with Elliot. And you're all very welcome. Thank you to all of you who've been enjoying the podcast. And just keep on listening. Garry, over to you. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back, everyone. I've been excited for this recording. Every 2 weeks, I get to come on and talk to my friends about Kylie. I love it. And as always, great to see Elliot back. And every week he wears less and less clothes. So welcome to the podcast.
Too hot to wear. It's too hot. It's just been too hot.
My friend in London said he wants permission from you, Elliot, to start a TikTok just for your beard.
Any publicity is good publicity at the end of the day.
He'll be taking all the stills from this podcast, by the way, so just as long as Gary's all right with that.
How are you, Elliot? How's things?
We're good. I've been told that you have watched the film The Substance.
Holy shit.
I want your reaction. Please tell me what you thought of it.
I mean, we could have another podcast just about it. I'm still traumatized. It's absolutely horrendous.
Have you seen this, Alan?
Like it.
I haven't seen it. I was trying to rent it the other day. You know, we have DVDs at work. I was trying to get a copy of it, but they didn't get it. They said it was too racy and it wouldn't be suitable
neither of us will spoil it for you, but it is absolutely crazy. Demi Moore is amazing in it, but it's one of those films that just keeps going, and you just think, where can this possibly go? And then it just keeps going. And then it ends and you're just literally like... So fully recommend it.
It's on my to-do list for sure.
I do think we need to reference for people that don't know Alan, because they're probably like, Alan, it's not 1980, you still work in a Blockbuster Video. Alan works in a library.
Yes,
he lives in the 90s. He lives in the 90s.
Yeah. I went to go rent it from Blockbuster last night.
So we've got 10 albums left in the Time Bomb wheel for this week.
So how many we have left? Jesus.
Yeah, we've got 10. And before we go to the wheel, for those who are dying to know, did the Calorie Minogue cap arrive that we talked about in the last episode?
Please tell me it did.
Timu came good. The caps have arrived. And for anyone who's watching on camera, it actually says Kylie on it.
That's actually quite nice, actually.
Yeah, and I've got one in red, and then I got one from a friend Stephen in blue. Timu. And look, it's got Kylie on it. This will be coming with me to Lyon and Seville to see the show.
You can't go wrong with a line that spells out the word Kylie, but you're proven wrong by
Who said it was it actually is the Kylie logo, so there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, thank you very much. Is that for me? One of those for me?
No.
No? Oh, you keep it? Because it's quite nice you're keeping it. That's lovely. That's nice.
Calorie joke, you could have had
you.
You just get the AI generated shirt, Alan, at the end of the day.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
You're welcome. Shall we go to the wheel?
But before we spin it, I need to do the heads or tails before we start with the infamous Kylie coin.
Did I pick first last week? You pick, Garry.
Who knows? But heads.
Okay, heads. Oop. Hold on, that was a shit throw, and I've just dropped it on the floor. Right, let me try that again. Take 2. Okay, right, it was tails. It was tails.
I never win it.
So, Alan's first then? Yeah, Alan's first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God, okay.
You ready, Alan?
I am. I'm not going to look, though. I don't like looking. Just spin it and tell me.
It's spinning.
Ooh.
Rhythm of Love.
What is it? Rhythm of Love. Okay.
Hey.
I wondered when one of these was going to come up because they've just been sitting there in the back. Yeah, okay, all right, that's good. Okay.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about you having Rhythm of Love.
Nothing is final, though. I mean, it's, we'll see how we go. You got to give it a good spin. I noticed your spin last week was quite weak. Give it a good spin. Give it a proper one.
Just use some extra force. Just use some extra force.
Yeah. In fairness, spin around.
Okay, let's give it a spin.
That's more like it. Oh, God.
Oh, holy Christ.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Alex, can you see?
No, it's you know what? For the first time in this season, steal.
Well, I knew you would.
You're going to steal
language. It's body language.
It's so fucking risky. Of all the ones, pardon my French, of all the ones to go up against body language, I wouldn't have wanted this one. But I have to because you know what? I fucking love body language. Okay, well, steal.
You just saved my steal because I was so tempted to steal Rhythm of Love from you. So thanks for stealing body language off me, Alan.
This could be the worst mistake of my life. Because you know what? It goes 5-1 tonight if I lose. And you know what? I've had a long day. It could get very tense in a half an hour, is all I'm saying. But I have to fight for body language.
Alan, you've got a battle on your hands. I've got to be honest. I don't envy on this one.
6 weeks I'm ready for body language to come up. And then you get it.
So you ready to start then, Alan?
Well, yeah, let's go. Why Rhythm of Love? This wheel is so evil.
How many times do we have to remind us we are not in control of the wheel?
No, I know. Yeah, the wheel can go fuck itself. Like, seriously. Right, okay. So let's talk about body language. Okay. So the year was 2003. I have some, actually, I want to give you some context because I looked at 2003 and some of the biggest artists in the world at the time, Beyonce, clearly 50 Cent, Christina Aguilera was still big, remember her? Girls Aloud, massive here, Kanye West breaking through, Britney Spears still the biggest star in the world. The pop landscape was dominated in 2003 by a lot of Dark Child.
Yeah.
Rodney Jerkins.
Yeah.
He kind of, if you look at the pantheon of American R&B producers, it's sort of Babyface and L.A. Reid in the late 80s, early 90s. Then you move into sort of this territory where Rodney Jerkins, suddenly he was producing Toni Braxton. He'd done On Break My Heart. He was working with Brandy, Whitney. I mean, he just incredible producer. Then we moved into, from him, he passed the baton on to Timbaland. So this album came as the crossing of the baton was happening. So Timbaland was about to break through with Aaliyah. He'd broken through with Aaliyah already, but he was about to do Justin Timberlake and suddenly become the biggest kind of producer for the next 5 years or so. But Kylie sat somewhere in this pop landscape. She released Fever. And I think I said this quote to you before. I don't think anybody at the label really knew where to go next.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? So actually, I don't think I really appreciated it at the time, but this was such a fucking swerve. You know, it was a swerve. And it was really brave, actually. For me now, when I listen to it now, I think, wow, actually, what a brave thing to do. And I suppose we can't talk about the album. Before we start with Slow, it's another question for you, Garry. Slow.
Yes.
Now, I think like a slinky, minimalist, almost this kind of primal sounding song, really stripped back at the keys. You can barely hear them. It's all about her. The vocal is so restrained, isn't it? It's just her almost whispering. Anyone who says whisper pop is new, like, fuck off. Kylie was doing whisper pop 23 years ago. You know, it's very whispery. But you know what? She never goes into that, oh, this is a bit, you know, it's always restrained enough to be sexy, but that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. She never crossed over the line where people thought, oh, she's, you know, selling sex now or stuff. She always just had that, just enough. And then the video and the clothes, and she was wearing Balenciaga, if I remember correctly. I mean, before Balenciaga became a thing in the last 10 years. So she had everything there, but with Slow, I think everybody had a fantastic hands in the air time with everything from Fever. And then she just drops this bomb of a single and was like, do you know what? Here you go. And although I don't think it's indicative of the rest of the album, and it's certainly the best song on there, undoubtedly. Like, you can't argue. There isn't a better song on there. Yeah, easily. Just to give you another idea of the landscape, okay? So Slow entered at number 1.
It did.
Can you tell me who entered the charts that week at number 2? Who did she deny in number 1 to?
I couldn't tell you. The only thing I do know is it was, I think, at the time, the lowest selling number 1 in like a decade. And it was definitely her lowest selling number 1. But it got to number 1. Couldn't tell you who was number 2.
Yeah.
Who?
It's the time of year. It was like, it was the time of year and singles were starting to fall off. It was, believe it or not, Blazing Squad with Flip Reverse.
No way.
Yeah.
God, that's a throwback.
With Fat
That
Man
is a
Scoop
throwback.
at number 3. It was a wild chart, like Atomic Kitten in the top 10, Black Eyed Peas, Blue. You know, it was just a very 2003 top 10. But thank God she managed to outsell Fat Man Scoop and fucking Blazing Squad. Anyway, so yeah, that's one for Steve, one for the facts. But yeah, we'll move on then. And then the next single was Red Blooded Woman. And I've got much more appreciation for this now. I think one of her sexiest videos.
Yeah.
And anybody who knows Janet and her discography, and especially her videography, will see the Janet Jackson influence there in that video, because she was shot in America, big truck, and she just looked. I think the cover and the artwork and that picture of her on the beach in the blue bathing suit, she's never looked better, I don't think. I mean, arguably, you might say, yeah, she's always looked amazing, but everything about the artwork was incredible. And then, yeah, Red Blooded Woman did okay, but I think that's very indicative of that sound, because it was very Rodney Jerkins, but also very Timbaland. It was very, very American, yeah. Very, very stuttery, very like Timberlake embraced on his album, which, you know, especially the Future Sex Love Sounds album, he really embraced that sound. But she was kind of there 2 years before him. But I just don't know whether I read a lot of reviews, and Billboard summed it up, I think, and said, like, Body Language is a great album. If it was released by anybody else in any other context, people would go, yeah, great album. But he said 2 things. People were expecting more pop and more dance. And in fact, you can't really dance to Body Language, can you? A lot of the reviews said it's impossible to dance to it, because, you know, Red Blooded Woman is about as dance floor as it gets, but it's still not really dance. It's not like the standard dancey beat. It's almost, she kind of compelling you to sing along with her more so than dance. And then Slow, no, you can't do anything but maybe just snog somebody to Slow, or, you know, great Darkroom song maybe. But you can't really.
Adds it to the playlist.
Well, you know, there should be a separate playroom for the Darkroom, a separate playlist for the Darkroom, clearly, you know.
Hang on.
When Never Gonna Give You Up comes on, you just want to leave. So, yeah, just something a bit better. But, do you know what I mean?
I never thought we were going to be talking about Slow On in a Darkroom, Alan, but thank you for bringing it.
I'm sorry, it's a terrible analogy. But I also think that she was taking some really gigantic leaps artistically with Body Language.
Yeah.
You get into, and it's her most sample-heavy album as well. Lots of samples on there. I mean, Prince, he was still alive then. He must have gone, hey, girl, now I know I'm your biggest, and you're the star I like the most, but stop nicking my tunes. Because a lot of them were very Princey. They really were, especially Obsession, I think, was really Prince. It's a great song, yeah. And then we mustn't forget about third single, Chocolate. I mean, what a great song. But I've got some of the stats here. If you look at who she worked with, though, I mean, Curtis Mantronic, got to find a way to get into my heart. You know that song from Mantronics? Yeah. Great dance record. And he came on board, worked his magic on that one. Of course, Kathy Dennis was involved as well, although she didn't create another Can't Get You Out of My Head, sadly. But she was, I think it was After Dark, wasn't it? And then Biff on there as well. Biff produced Loving Days. Obviously, clearly haven't worked with Biff a lot on Fever. He was a little bit sidelined, I think, on this, but does get a track called Loving Days. Again, it's a great song, but, you know, it didn't become a single or anything. And then, of course, you've got Johnny Douglas as well. He came back after working with her on Light Years. And he's brilliant. I mean, look at the list of people Johnny Douglas worked with is unbelievable. You'll know this, Garry, from the 90s. George Michael, clearly one of the best albums of all time, older. All Saints, Eternal, Louise, Tina Turner, Belinda Carlisle, Gabrielle, Michelle Gale, Liberty X, Gary Barlow, Will Young. Like, just, you know, it's a bit of a who's who.
I mean, so Michelle Gale. There you go.
Well, I mean, don't you, Garry, don't you pretend you don't love Michelle Gale, because we've talked about
I love Michelle Gale. I love her.
She has some great songs.
This is my weakness.
For someone terribly inconsequential as a pop star, she has 3 or 4 great songs, hasn't she? Michelle Gale, she really has. But anyway, we're
no idea.
I think you'd have to tell me a song. You'd have to tell me a song.
No, it's one of those things. She was a flash in the pan, but actually made 3 or 4 great singles, but just everyone kind of went, meh. She was in EastEnders for a long time. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm digressing. So, yeah, and then look, you have Promises on Body Language, which leads into Sweet Music. I'm sorry, two of the best. I love Promises. And she worked with Gartside from Scritti Politti. You'll remember Green Gartside, still around. I mean, random hooking up with these guys. Like, they hadn't had a hit since 87, I think. So I was like, what the hell is she doing in there? But actually, the song is quite good. The song he's singing, and his voice is always had a lovely pop voice with early 80s pop voice. So there was lots of swerves here, you know, and then the tour, the non-tour, should I say, the tour that never was. I mean, I think I was gearing up to maybe go and see her, and then she was like, no, not this time. We've had enough. Okay. But she did the Money Can't Buy show.
Yeah.
Where it was one night. And I mean, she gave those away to competition winners, right? You literally couldn't buy a ticket.
Yeah, it was Money Can't Buy.
If you get a chance, Elliot, watch it. It's a really great show. She had that peroxide blonde hair almost.
Yeah.
And I love everything about that. I felt like she was the most comfortable in her skin that she'd been for a long time. And this, of course, was pre-cancer and everything.
And I think what's so good about that is that the effort they put in for one show. So it was the album launch show, and it was, you know, a Money Can't Buy experience. It was, whether they had ever planned to tour it or not, but like, they did put a whole show on. They effectively toured the album in one show. It got like a DVD release and stuff at the time, but there was a genius part in that. It's not actually on the album, but she did Breathe from Impossible Princess mixed with Je T'aime, because it was a very French feeling, this album. The imagery was very French, and the staging was completely had French theme. But she didn't play in France. She played in the Hammersmith Apollo in London. So, you know.
You mean the French part of the UK, yeah?
If you look at the sales, it's done 1.7 million worldwide now, which, you know, that's as good as her second album, and not in the world, but in the UK. You know, but I think coming off 6 million for Fever, to then, you know, you're like, oh dear, okay, we're not quite hitting the mark. You can explain that away with the tour, but you can also just explain it away by Body Language not having a Can't Get You Out of My Head on us. That's ultimately, you know, because Fever, I think,
9, right? Was it number 9 it went in the UK?
No, it was 6, actually. It was 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I remember at the time thinking, you know, bloody hell, you know, okay, what's going on here? It was quite a drop from debut at number 1. But then, you know, we weren't used to Kylie having number 1 albums. Well, we knew Light Years only got to number 2. But who was it that Light Years went? Someone else was at number 1 when Light Years was number 2. Who was it, Garry? Can you remember?
No.
When Light Years went in at number 2, there was an artist that was at number 1. Do you remember who it was?
Well, I know who you're going to say it is. It's going to be Madonna, isn't it?
Yeah. Just say it one more time. Just
Madonna.
Madonna. Yeah, that's Madonna. Yeah. The Queen of Pop. The Queen of Pop. But yeah, we're getting back to Light Years.
Madonna. I'm not a Madonna fan. I think you are well aware of that, but I have respect for her.
Okay. He's been so cordial now tonight. Nobody's like, fuck that, Sherry. Anyway,
I've matured on my Madonna opinions. Okay,
I think it's about time. It's about time.
What way could be one or the other? And I was Kylie. Okay, there was a time and place where you really couldn't be a Madonna fan and a Kylie fan at once. It wasn't allowed.
I know, but it was so silly. It's so silly, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so silly. But yeah, it did. It charted at 6, and then it was a really good run of singles. I still, to this day, wish they'd released Promises or Sweet Music as a 4th single, but I think they knew, okay, this campaign is done and dusted. Probably one of the shortest campaigns, I think, because there was no tour. It felt like it was like a solid 9 month campaign, and then it was kind of just like, okay, let's quietly move on. Because ultimately, Kylie came the year after, didn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, they pretty much shelved the campaign and moved rapidly on to Ultimate Kylie and then Kylie Showgirl.
Okay. I don't know why I have this as well. It's such a stupid thing to keep now. In the era of YouTube, this is so redundant. Sometimes when I get drunk, I might put this on and I'll go, I really want to watch the Got to Be Certain video or something stupid. And it also has the I Believe in You video, because I think after Body Language, there was that strange year, wasn't there, where this came out and we had those random singles, So I Believe in You and her work with the Scissor Sisters and stuff. So she pivoted back away again from that R&B American sound that she had embraced. But I love that about her. She was enjoying herself throughout this campaign. She was having a whale of a time. riding the crest of that massive wave. I think they, probably everyone would have maybe have thought, oh, we would have maybe liked it to be a bit bigger and maybe bigger in America. In America, they only got to 42. Having gone top 10 nearly everywhere across Europe. It was number 2 in Australia. They loved it, to be fair, the Australians. And they tend to like the stuff that the UK doesn't like. There's a weird thing going on there. That's probably a podcast of its own, but Australia embraces the stuff that the UK hasn't, and vice versa. And we're like, well, why is that? So, I mean, maybe somebody could dig into that and tell us what that's all about.
They just like it when she goes left field. It was a swerve completely left field. Some people, I remember at the time, I don't think I was ready for it. The video for Chocolate was stunning.
Yeah, a nice final single. I love Chocolate to this day. Really slinky. Another great production as well. I think it makes a lot of sense in the context of the album. The first 6 songs on the album are just, for me, brilliant. And then, like, I quite like Biff's Loving Days at the end. The biggest disappointment for me was that Slow is fantastic, but if there'd been a second song of its caliber, I think it would have given the album a bit more legs. But in terms of making an artistic statement, and very much of the moment, and also an artist taking control and having enough wherewithal in herself to be able to say, I want to do this record and I want to work with these people like Scritti Politti, Mantronics, all these kind of left field people, and I'm going to do it, and let's just go, and it was for me, I think it certainly, I'd say she probably would go so far as to say that, it was cementing her status as a pop diva, but letting everybody know it's not, I don't just do that. I do other stuff as well. And although maybe if you look back on it, for me, as a Kylie fan, I loved it, but I can understand the criticisms towards it too a little bit, certainly. Yeah. I think everybody wanted more of the same, but didn't get it, and that was a disappointment. There wasn't disappointment in the album. The album itself is great, but I think what everyone was hoping was coming down the line didn't manifest, and they're all, oh God, I want pop Kylie. It's like, well, you're getting every kind of Kylie. You're going to get her whether you like it or not. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. She gave us disco, she gave us pop, she gave us indie, and she was giving you R&B, Kylie, and you were going to take it, and that's it. So I would say, I'm going to shut up now. An amazing record. I love it. I love this album, and I would love it to go through tonight.
Now, Alan, just to let us finish, you've got to finish it off by giving us your give us your 3 words or 3 phrases that would summarize Body Language.
Oh, God. Right. Well, I think... What's another word for sex? Like, it's just dead... I think she's her sexiest. I'm going to say sex. Or maybe sexy. I'm also going to say metallic.
Sex.
Sex. I'm going to say metallic. I think the album feels shiny. It's almost... For me, the artwork is so crisp and it's white and black, and Kylie just looks so... she just looked... in control of herself, and she's sitting on the words, Body Language, and then the rest of the album, the blue tones with the black and the white, her hair being super blonde. I mean, sex metallic. Oh God, I'm gonna say sex metallic and blonde. I think because I just love her hair in that color, and because I can't think, because I'm really struggling to think of another word. But I suppose it should refer to the music. No, I think metallic sums up the music. With Body Language, there's just so much to hear with the production. The album is super produced, but sounds really clean, and you can hear every single instrument, and lots more guitar in there this time than there had been on Fever as well. Much more guitar, and very cheeky. And again, Prince, those influences are coming through. For me, it's just brilliant. So it's sex, metallic, and blonde, for lack of a better word. I hate that.
Alan, I need to find for you. I'll show you it next time. I'm telling you in advance, this is not a gift for you, but I have a promo copy of it. You're not having it. It's a promo.
It's only the shit things that I get as gifts. Why would you give me a promo?
But it's a promo copy of Slow, and it's all the artwork you just talked about, and it is just it's one of my pride and joys things. I'll find it. I'll show it to you. You ain't having it.
I'll let you have a look at it. No, but I think it's just, the artwork for me, I don't know if they've topped it. I think we were looking at peak Kylie, weren't we, in terms of just that, she just was able to look so fucking sexy and make it look so easy. but artistically, the album, the artwork, it all just worked with the sound, probably more than any other album of hers. I feel like you get the sound, you get the flavor of the album by looking at the cover, I think. Should we show the cover off?
Yeah.
She was going for a very Bridget Bardot.
Yeah.
A very kind of kitten-esque. Yes. But, there you go. That's my summation of body language.
Okay. Brilliant.
So beat that, Garry.
All right. Well, I guess it's on to you now, Garry.
God, it's a tough one, though, because this is such an important album, this next one.
And you know what, Alan, you've really sold the music there. I'm going to be honest, body language is probably my least favorite era. And all the stuff you're talking about there, I don't think I was ready for body language. I was one of them people who was like, where's Fever 2.0? Actually, like, I wasn't there. But I think actually what you've done a very good job of, I'll give you kudos, is you've really talked about the quality of the music, which I think at the time I just wasn't ready for. I didn't appreciate it enough.
We were too young at the same time to want me. When you're that younger, it was, for me, and most of Kylie albums, I didn't really psychoanalyze any of them.
It's my turn to sell one of my favourite albums. And it's an album where I think we all started to realise that Kylie was growing up. And probably as kind of the OG fans that were with her, we were maybe a couple of years behind her, but we were starting to appreciate her kind of own growth and growing up as we all were. So the album, Rhythm of Love, Elliot, is album 3 in the catalogue of Kylie, still Stockache and Waterman, but a difference from the first 2 albums, which had been completely written and produced by Stockache and Waterman. Rhythm of Love is when she kind of started to try to take some control of things artistically. She definitely took control of the imagery, and I've listened to various podcasts about loads of the kind of challenges at the time of trying to get the imagery through, and the record label not really wanting her to go down this route. Stockache and Waterman still owned majority of the writing credits on the album and the production credits, but she did have a few that she got to go and do herself outside of the Hip Factory that she was part of, where she'd never been allowed to work outside of that before. They did get some permission, although none of them ended up being the singles, but they have a place on the album, and rightly so they have a place on the album. But I would say, rightly so, they weren't the singles, because the single runs here is just phenomenal. Like, right, I was going to say the 4 singles out, right? Here we go. And Elliot, you'll know all these, even though, like, it's from earlier on in the career, because they all live on today to be Kylie classics. Better than ever, Step back in time. What do I have to do? And fucking shocked. It's hard to explain how quality that is. I mean, you go from... She wasn't performing as well in the chart. She'd gone from being all guaranteed 1s and 2s, the kind of couple of number 4s in the earlier days, where she was finding it harder to chart because maybe things were changing, her imagery was changing, but the quality of the songs was still bloody there. And I think what was really interesting at the time as well is they started, maybe they'd been doing this before, but it was when I really first started to realise having remixed versions of the album tracks as the singles. So some of them became a much beefier version. So what do I have to do was remix for the single. And then Shocked was effectively kind of changed. Like, actually the version of Shocked on the album, it has a really long intro. It's kind of a bit boring, if I'm honest. At times it goes on.
Very rarely does a remix improve on a track. But I have to hand it to the remix of Shocked. It just took what was quite a lackluster album version. It starts off a bit weird, a bit tinny. And then I remember hearing the single and I was like, wow. DNA remix, am I right? The DNA remix? Yeah. Exactly.
And as we already talked about on this podcast, because, big up to Jazzy P. My friend from Birmingham, she was brought in to write the vocals for the rap, which has just become like... Whoever would have thought that a rap on the 4th single of this album would become something that's lived in Kylie's career for so many years?
Spectacular marketing, really. Yeah, spectacular.
It really added to it. It was really, really... And at the time, again, she was... Kylie was getting much sexier, and I think bringing Jazzy P in as well was very kind of sexy at the time. The two of them were on top of pops wearing bras. It was the world. It was a changing, but on the imagery and the visual. Well, actually, I think the album cover is quite boring in comparison to the videos. So here's the album cover, which actually.
It's a bit cut and pasty. Yeah, really, it was the beginning of her first drop off, wasn't it? It was.
it was.
We just didn't know it yet, but it was. I think she'd had 2 years, and like anybody, it was pop's a cruel master. Now you can have a longer career because of streaming, I think, much longer, and you can just carry on making music in your room and be relevant to somebody. Like, you never really drop off anymore, whereby back then, the papers loved to harangue neighbour stars, become pop stars, and then start flopping. Look what happened to Jason. I mean, you know, Elliot will know who Jason Donovan is. He got, fucking slaughtered by the press. Slaughtered. And I think they were gunning for Kylie, but she managed somehow, I don't know how she did it, she managed to really navigate her way around the worst of it. She really did.
She took risks as well. So, like, at that time, she was starting her relationship with Michael Hutchence from INXS. So again, there was loads, like, there's still like that legendary dress that she wore with that wig to a film premiere, and she was still kind of keeping herself out there. But I think what was still behind it was, you know, it was still quality music there. Like, the 4 singles were still there. Like, Jason Donovan's music had fallen off a cliff. Like, my first ever concert was Jason, let's be clear. But, you know, my album 3, Jason's music was not quality anymore. Yeah.
So, you know, fair play. They managed, those singles are great. I mean, I'm going to have a hard time sort of fighting against those 4, but, you know, they are, that's a highlight. I think for any Kylie fan will tell you that run of singles unparalleled.
Well, you know, they're all still, if you look at what's in the tour this year, Intention Tour, the only one that's not there is Step Back in Time, but that's been in loads of the recent tours over the last the last few tours. So Better Than Ever You Know, What Do I Have to Do, and Shocked are still really, really strong songs. And the videos for them at the time, again, were really quality videos. She was putting effort into them, and she was showing herself in it. But there's also some really good tracks on the album. So let's talk about some of the album tracks. There's one for me that I'll never not love. And I remember it was on the Let's Get To It tour, Always Find the Time. And I just love that song. It's such a happy little go-lucky song.
I would think maybe it was probably going to be a single. I would think at some point maybe.
It was a stock-taking
between that and Shocked, maybe. Yeah.
And then the other one that I think really stands out, and probably the reason why they stand out to me, is both of them were included in the Anti tour. So Elliot, Kylie did like a B-sides and rarities tour. I don't know how many years ago. And these 2 songs, Things Can Only Get Better and Always Find the Time, just were genuinely brilliant tracks in this. Like, we were in the Manchester Academy, it's a really small venue. And when I say, like, it was just, we were feral for these songs. Like, we literally were feral. So there's some really, really strong songs on there. She also did another rap. Let's just say a less successful rap than
Kylie was rapping, yes.
It's a Kylie rap, rap in the shop. But Kylie rap,
it's a Kylie rap, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, it's of a time. It's definitely of a time. It's called One Boy Girl, but again, it's kind of cute from the time as well. She also did do that at the Anti-Tour in London. She tried to recreate it, and it was hilarious. Some of the songs that she did away from Stock Aitken and Waterman, this is where I'm going to get fact checks. We're getting our facts wrong.
You are.
We're totally getting it. But I'm thinking the songs that she did in the US away from Stock Aitken and Waterman were Count the Days, Rhythm of Love, One Boy Girl. Yeah. And I want to say Secrets, I think. Was Secrets?
Secrets. Well, I know the other one, Count the Days, and those. The interesting thing for me, and I think I didn't realize until I bought the album and looked at the liner notes, but Madonna's previous 2 records, Like a Prayer and True Blue, which came before Like a Prayer, she worked with this guy called Stephen Bray, who's a fantastic songwriter. So Kylie just went off and enlisted his help to write some songs for her. Now, I mean, the records he did with Kylie couldn't be any more different from what he did with Madonna, but I just think that's down to Madonna being Madonna and Kylie being Kylie Minogue. But
can you stop into a Madonna podcast, please? I mean, you've mentioned her about 7 times.
Well, then she will pop up. I mean, you can't tell Madonna. That's the fact. That's the fact.
They did write the title track, Rhythm of Love, with Kylie.
Yeah, he did, which is, I think, one of the stronger ones of the ones they wrote. I don't think this album deserves to win on a run of 4 singles because the rest of the record lets it down terribly, whereby I don't think that there aren't that many strong... Hang on. No, actually, I've just realised I'm hijacking here. I'm sorry. I am. I was about to hijack.
To diss my album, what was my turn to sell the album.
I just well, if body language can't compete with the 4 singles. I'm just saying. Right, go. Sorry, carry on.
He tried.
Poor Elliot, he can't get a word in edgeways. You're on fire tonight, Alan. You really.
I cannot.
There's
I cannot.
definitely a passion here.
Cannot
There's
lose
definitely
tonight.
a passion.
I cannot lose tonight.
Okay, right. So, I think the other thing that was going on at this time as well, that Kylie was going for, like, she was still on like Saturday morning TV and stuff. So she was still appealing to this younger audience, but was definitely growing. And maybe at this point she was growing at a bit of a faster pace than her audience, but she had the ability, I think probably through Stock Aitken and Waterman, to keep the audience with her. It did drop off. The album didn't chart or sell as well as the first 2 albums had. However, I think, again, it's still quality.
Can you remember what position it got to?
9, 6?
Yeah, number 9. Yeah.
9?
Now, you can imagine, Elliot, just for context, it'd be like Taylor bringing a new album out tomorrow, right? And it going to number 9. For us, it was, you know what I mean? It just wouldn't happen, does it? But I remember at the time, me and my friends, we were such gay boys. We were even more devastated about Let's Get To It. But at the time, we could not believe it. We were like, number 9, like, who didn't buy this? It was kind of but then it was still had 4 top 10 singles.
I remember buying the album, my mum taking me to HMV in the Square in Tala, Alan. Oh, that's the Better You Have Me On single. Can I have that?
Hey.
Do you want it?
I think
Would you prefer? Do you have it? You got the 12-inch of it, though.
No, I don't.
I bought you this about a year ago. Do you remember? I didn't send it to you because you went and moved to Spain.
So I think what was sad at the time for us on this side of the world was that we didn't get the Rhythm of Love tour. So there was a tour, but it was in Australia. And by the time the tour got to the UK, she'd actually moved on to the 4th album, and the tour got rebranded as the Let's Get To It tour. But this tour started in Australia, probably did Japan at some time, I don't know. But again, at this time, to be fair, even on the Enjoy Yourself tour, her first tour, she had a live band with her, she was singing live. But actually on this tour, there's clips online on YouTube of this tour, and she still bloody sang live. She didn't really know what she was doing at the time. She was so early on in her career. But she did it, and she did a great job of it, and she had really quality songs behind it. So
I think she had a hard time with the press, didn't she, for being this pop puppet who mimes and stuff. But when you went to see her live, like if you look at the Let's Get To It live show, it's a full-on live band with 4 backing vocalists. I don't know, 8 members in the band, 7 or 8 dancers. It was a big off production for the time. So I do remember always being really annoyed when people would say, "Oh, she's just back in tape." She doesn't. She never live has she ever done that ever.
Not the concert.
Got a full band with her. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So fair play there.
So Elliot, there you go. I could talk for another 25 minutes about this album.
No, I just wanted to say that you cannot judge an album on 4 great singles. That's all I'm going to say. You can't. You can't. Body Language is a much more consistent and mature album, I think. Yeah, much more consistent.
I'm not having this. I'm not having this.
Though, it just is.
Okay.
It just is.
Let's have Garry give us his closing 3 words or phrases around the album.
Devil, because better the devil you know. And that was the start of it all. So it's kind of commonly sometimes just known as Devil. Creative, because creatively she was taking... there you go. Devil creative control, because she was taking creative control as well of the look, the imagery. And I think Kylie wouldn't be who she is today if she kept just doing what Stock Aitken and Waterman were telling her to do and be this bubblegum princess, kind of girl next door. Kylie took control. She did the Delinquents film at the time, and that was bloody racy and racy. So, yes.
But
there you go.
Was it a true evolution? I'm not sure. I just think it was more of an extension and a maturer version of what we got with Enjoy Yourself. I know that we just finished. Whereas with Body Language, I think we were watching an artist take an artistic step in a different direction.
Hang on.
Just wanted to finish up there.
I'm not finished up. Now I'm going back to Rhythm of Love. Right. No. There's not a step change from Tears in My... Hang on a second. Now let's go. Never Too Late into Tears in My Pillow of this blue screen video of, kind of,
Yeah,
we'll get to
okay.
it.
But you've got to remember.
No, I'm not finished. You hold your tongue. Then we go into Better Than Ever You Know. That is a complete step change. You go
Yeah,
from
no, I get it. I get it. It was I would say it was more of a continuation, but also like putting your foot on the pedal and saying, right, let's fucking really go for it. Whereby with Body Language, she had two of the biggest albums of the previous 2 to 3 years, and then just out of nowhere is like, you know what? Let's just take this turn here and see where we go. That was utter bravery. It wasn't maybe necessarily rewarded with chart sales and stuff, but what a brave move. And I think for her fans, if you look back on her discography, it sits in there nicely as a real kind of, look what I did once. And whereas I don't think Rhythm of Love, the singles are amazing. But Rhythm of Love, I think it was part of an evolution rather than an evolution. It was part of a process. That's what I think. Those 4 solo albums were a process whereby we had a fully matured Kylie on Body Language.
Honestly, Elliot, the things he's doing to try and win tonight.
It would be a travesty. It would be an actual travesty. I think a lot of the fans. Oh, by the way, I've got to say hi to Cassie. Thanks, Cassie. If you're listening, Cassie, I love being corrected. Like, it's what I live for. I love it when people say, Alan, you're wrong. And then it turns out I am wrong. It's even better when it turns out I am wrong. Love when people point it out. So thank you very much, Cassie. But I did say I think it was Robbie and Guy. But it turns out that Johnny Douglas produced the song on Light Years, Disco Down. So I do stand corrected, Cassie. Thank you for listening. And it's lovely. It's lovely. It's lovely that you left a nice comment for everybody to read on Spotify. Thank you.
Exactly. For context, it's the Spotify comment that was about Alan.
Yeah.
Look,
we also encourage people to put more comments in. Please put more comments in critiquing both Alan or Garry. Or me, is that in our case.
Yeah, no, if we're wrong, tell us we're wrong. It's very hard. It's an hour-long podcast, and I need to lie down afterwards usually. But I'm very conscious of the fact that I go 5-1 down, and like, nobody comes back from that. Who comes back from 5-1? Nobody. So,
The conclusion.
Oh,
but you both made very, very good cases between the two of them. And I feel like
this is worse than the X Factor.
I feel like we wouldn't have Body Language if we didn't have Rhythm of Love. And I feel like, from what I can gather, the changes that she made in doing that is what brings you Body Language. So I feel like if there was no Body Language, you would in theory have no Body Language.
Hang on, what are you saying, Elliot? Who won?
No, sorry. I'm going to give it to Rhythm of Love. I love you so much. Second. Oh no, I've upset him. He did pose a very, very good argument, and I feel like.
Sorry if I didn't mean to slam the door there. I apologise.
Oh, did you slam the door? You just disappeared.
Again, I feel the need to explain for anyone not watching this on camera. He just ripped up his notes that he'd lovingly typed, threw them at the camera, and stormed out of his room.
Well, I think that wraps everything up for tonight. I don't know if I've got anything more I'd like to say.
Alan, look, I know it's 5-1 now, but if you remember, the battle is about finding the...
Hang on. Can I just... I want to go back. Elliot, can I just ask you to... Let's be a little bit more specific. Because did you say you wouldn't have Body Language if we didn't have Rhythm of Love?
Yeah.
I think that the choices of what you could say with the way that she was being more, like you said, sexy of the time period. It's that sort of like push through that you get. That I can see is what she then echoes into Body Language. This is why Body Language is that type of sexiness, but in 2003.
I think if Kylie was watching this now, she'd be very disappointed. That's what I'm going to say. She would be very disappointed. She would say, actually, Alan's getting robbed here on a weekly basis. Like, who would you think you are, Robin Hood? Like, it's ridiculous. I absolutely and utterly, I'm very disappointed.
But Alan, hang on. As a true Kylie fan, I just want to say, I'm sorry, body language does not stand up to Rhythm of Love. Elliot's made the right decision.
Wholeheartedly disagree. I can't repeat myself anymore, but fine, it is what it is. Fine.
Also,
it's okay.
Alan, the other thing I would also say is cheaters never win, because you were cheating tonight. You were fecking, trying to sell off my album while I was on my time to sell it. Cheaters never win.
You were overselling it. Oh my God, I'm talking about all these tracks on the B-side of Rhythm of Love. Nobody listens to them. Nobody listens to anything. People listen to their first 4 songs and then they move on. Whereas with Body Language, you can listen to the whole album. Look, I disagree wholeheartedly with the result of tonight.
You technically did have it, and then you decided to go with Body Language.
Well, the Timebomb bin now has added to it. It has got Body Language. So in the Timebomb bin so far, we now have Body Language, X, Kiss Me Once, Golden, and Disco. All in the bin, all gone. Oof. Going forward to round 2, we have Aphrodite, Fever, Kylie 88, Light Years, and as of tonight, Rhythm of Love. It's not about 5-1, it's about the album that's going to make it to be the best Kylie album of all time at the end of this season. And Alan, together, but regardless of how many battles I win, we'll find the best album.
Except defeat, I'm always gracious. Let me look at me. I just needed a second.
I'm sorry, let's just rewind back to when you just left the room. But yes, you're very gracious.
It's really tough for me right now. I got bitten by a horsefly in the face in case you're wondering why I look like this. But I'm going to force Elliot to listen to Body Language in its entirety for the rest of the evening now, just so he realises how wrong he is.
We'll see what happens on episode 6. For everyone between now and then, we are on Instagram, Timebomb Kylie Podcast. We have a YouTube channel where our videos are posted there, and the battle will continue. The wheel will be back. The coin will be back. I'll be back. Elliot will be back. But if I'm honest right now, I'm not sure Alan's going to come back. But
we'll have a cardboard cutout. It'll be okay.
Well, I hope you enjoy. I hope you're enjoying this, the pair of you. I really hope you're enjoying yourselves. Unbelievable. See you next time, everybody. Bye.